at Sword Song, and I've talked about a lot of times that I'm actually a movie nerd. I love video games. I love playing them, and I love talking about them, and I love watching people play them, and I really do enjoy video games. But I'm movies is my thing. Movies is my jam. It's been my jam. So I want to do something involving movies on the channel, and I've had a lot of ideas, and one of them was called Sword Song Spoils It, where I'm going to just sit and talk about movies, and But what do I start with? Like, this is just a small sampling of my DVD collection. I've got Power Rangers here. This is the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. I've got some stories involving that, and like maybe I could talk about that. But fucking everybody knows this one. I've got like 17 million of these shitty horror, like public domain horror collections. But you know, pretty much all I ever want to watch on there is is Vincent Price's House on Haunted Hill. It's got a really dark ending, so I don't want to do that one. Drag Me to Hell. I own this because I think it's a really great callback to Sam Raimi's horror with Evil Dead. Also, the thing with the teeth and the chewing on your jaw, gross. Wizard of Oz. This is the 75th anniversary edition of Wizard of Oz. Everybody's seen Wizard of Oz. Everybody knows Wizard of Oz. I don't want to start with that. So, what about this? What is this? Batman collection? Batman Forever. Okay, Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever. I don't even know what year this came out. It was like 94, I believe. Tim Burton's name is on all three of these up until Batman and Robin, which is when I would have dropped off the fucking face of the planet as well. Obviously, it's one of my favorite movies. Like, anyway, so Batman Forever was directed by Joel Schumacher. I think it was his first Batman movie. He did other things too. I think he's Joel Schumacher. You know, you know that. You know who he is. But, so it's got Jim Carrey starring as the Riddler. It's got Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, Val Kilmer as Batman. Fucking Dude Man, who plays Alfred, he's Alfred. I mean, Michael Caine, great Alfred, not the same. Like, he's not the same. So he's got Nicole Kidman, who plays Meridian Chase. Dr. Meridian Chase, who's a psychologist who's obsessed with Batman. And then he's got Chris O'Donnell playing Dick Grayson, who's like the first Robin, and personally my favorite. Like, he's the one who grows up to be Nightwing and blah, blah, blah. Like, this movie has a bitchin' soundtrack. I love the soundtrack for this movie. You know, it's got everything from Seal to Method Man to, like, it's fantastic. It's just a great soundtrack. And it's just so much fun. But at the same time, you know, superhero movies are about men in tights, you know, and women in tights. Just people running around in stupid costumes, doing stupid shit, fighting robots. Like, you can have it dark and serious and brooding, but every now and then, can you lighten up? Can you? Because it's a ridiculous concept. This is a man dressed as a bat, kind of. I don't know what kind of bat looks like that, but he looks like a bat. But anyway, so Batman Forever, it starts off like Two-Face is robbing this goddamn bank, and there's some inane jackass stuck in the vault, which I'm not sure what bank vaults look like, but I don't think they're big circular things that are kind of sat on rails. But anyways, Two-Face is robbing this thing. He's got this thing in there. Batman derps in like, oh, I'm fucking Val Kilmer. What? The security guard's like, oh, fucking, it's a trap. And Batman's like, oh shit. And the thing closes behind him, and they get yanked out, and it starts pouring acid into the thing. But not just any acid, boiling hot acid, because like, hot acid is so much worse than normal acid, because then you get like the chemical burn on top of an actual burn, right? Like, what the fuck, Two-Face? Also, how did you arrange that? Because it's just the thing, and everybody's in it, so like, you had to boil it and then pump it into tubes to shoot it into this thing. Anyways, Batman ends up saving the day. It's all very great, and then he meets Chase, who's all like, I'm a horny bitch, that wants all up on his dick. Everybody's like, oh, why Two-Face evil? Why is he evil? Because they called in Meridian Chase to help analyze Harvey Dent, and she's pointless. Like, really all she is, she's just a love interest. Like, she's just a plot device. Like, her name could be Dr. Meridian MacGuffin, and it would be the same thing. Because everything she says, Bruce Wayne already knows. Because he's a fucking genius. Best detective in the world. Everything Chase says he knows. He knows it. Because he's not dumb. Fucking knows. But he busts down her door, and he's like, hey, I'm fucking an eccentric billionaire, come on a date with me. And she's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. Then somewhere in the mix, Bruce meets Edward Nygma, who is our erstwhile Riddler. And is erstwhile the word I want to use there? But anyways, he's like, hey, I have this thing called the box where you can put the thing on your head and look like an idiot, and then everybody sees 3D TV and it's really great and awesome. And Bruce is like, that's a pretty cool idea. And Nygma's like, hey, let's work on this together. We'll be partners. And Bruce is like, well, have your people call my people. And Nygma's like, I'm impatient. And I find this to be a really sad plot point, because if Nygma had just waited, had gone through the proper venues and talked to Bruce the way it was, there is a really big possibility that he could have teamed up with Bruce Wayne, who was his hero, and actually gotten the capital he needed to build the box and market the box, and everything would have been fine. There never would have been a Riddler. But he's impatient. He looks at Bruce and he's like, that's not good enough for me. I need an answer now. Bruce is like, well, this is some pretty sketchy shit. Like, you're putting images into people's brains, and that's not super safe, and I don't know anything about it. So if you want an answer now, it's no. I'm sorry. So he fucks off, and so Nygma snaps. He's like, oh, you were supposed to understand because you're my hero, but you don't because bruh. So they end up going to the circus, and Two-Face shows up, and this is a cool fucking circus. Like, I love visually the aesthetics that they chose for, like, Gotham and all that in Batman Forever. I love it. I would live there. Like, yeah, maybe the crime rate isn't so, it's bad. You know, it's not a good place, but it looks so cool. Flying Graysons are doing things, and
under the big top. If we may direct your attention to the middle of the center ring.
What the hell do you want, Harvey?
One, Mr. Mayor. One simple thing. Batman, bruised, broken, bleeding, in a word, dead!
Everybody's like, oh, panic, scream. So Bruce Wayne stands up and he's like, I'm Batman, but nobody hears because everybody's too busy being a bitch. And so, whatever. So Bruce Wayne has no clue what he's doing. He's trying to save everybody. It's not working. So what happens is, like, the Graysons, who are acrobats, end up coming down and, like, grabbing the big fuck off, like, Adam West style bomb. And they end up taking it up, and Dick Grayson goes up through the sewer system, even though the fucking tent is above ground. I never realized that till just now. But anyways, rolls it down the street, goes in the water, explodes, saves the day, whatever. In all the hubbub, though, his family fell from their little acrobat perch and are dead. And he comes in and looks down through the hole, even though he was just in the sewer system, or whatever, and sees them all down on the ground, and there's, like, the dead bodies, and Commissioner Gordon, and Bruce Wayne Wayne's like, shit, like, this is my fault. I'm gonna take the kid in. So, next scene, like, Dick Grayson's bitching about, and he comes up on his motorcycle, he's like, yeah, whatever, I told everybody I'd stay here because it saves me a lot of paperwork, but I'm not staying here. And Bruce Wayne's like, wait, but, you have to, because I feel I have rich person guilt, and I need you to help me with that. And he's like, whatever, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go to Metropolis, where the circus probably is by now, and I'm going to keep traveling with them. And Bruce Wayne's like, fine, whatever, but your bike's running on empty, and there's no gas station, so come to the garage. And then Dick Grayson sees, like, all these fancy fucking cars and bikes, like fucking Aston Martins and Lamborghinis and that. But I remember the one bike he sees is a Vincent Black Knight. And he's like, oh my gosh, they only made like 200 of these things. And yeah, Bruce is like, yeah, I'm greedy and I have two, but one doesn't work. And Alfred's a boss, but he's not that much of a boss. So you fix it, you keep it. And he's like, I'm a greedy teenager. Yeah, sure, I'll stay. Anyway, so Nygma sees the airing of the circus, of the fucking circus massacre. And he's like, oh, this is great and funny. I'm going to go team up with this fucker. So he straps on his best spandex and his fantastic orange wig. And he busts into the Two-Face's hideout. And he's like, hey, I've got some shit. I need some money for this shit. And I will I will help you find out who Batman is and how we can kill him. And Two-Face is like, oh, let me flip a coin. Well, coin flips, and then it's like, oh, it's a fucking time jump. And then they're working together. So obviously, fate was on his side. So they're
Punch a guy!
It's dirt simple, my boy. Ball up the fist, reach way back, and assert yourself.
That looks like fun! Let me try!
Ball up the fist,
Ball up the fist.
reach way back.
Reach way back.
Assert yourself.
Ow! 100,220, 100 and... I lost count!
Really, what it all comes down to is, well, eventually, like, Chris O'Donnell does the most ridiculous acrobatic stunt, which I can't get, because, like, when he's first trying to do the acrobatic stunt, he's on top of the thing, and he's like, hey, and Alfred's like, hey, where are you? And fucking Robin is up here. He's like, I'm up here. He's like, cool. I'm gonna go do butlery things. He's like, cool. So the second Alfred walks out of the room, Robin goes, nah! And then jumps all over everything and flips around and does some crazy acrobatic shit and slams into this silver cabinet. He stole the silver cabinet, ends up discovering the Batcave. And my biggest thing with that scene is like, why? Why are you just shouting now? Like, you don't need to cue anybody. Nobody needs to know what you're doing. And matter of fact, it's just giving away what you're doing. And if Alfred had been listening, he would just turn around and clothesline you. But he didn't, because plot device, Mr. Frodo. So he ends up discovering it, and he's like, Batman's gonna help me kill Two-Face. And Bruce Wayne's like, nah, brah, murder's bad, okay? They end up going to this big fucking release for the Box 2.0, where Nigma has now invented ways to have interactive fantasies. You know, you can look at, the thing reads your mind and then creates a fan. It's just this it's virtual reality. It's 100% virtual reality, and it's psychic. And Bruce Wayne is like, if you can put images into people's brains, what stops you from taking them out? And Nigma's like, oh, pro dodge, I'm not answering your question. You're just a bitch. You don't want to try it. And they're going to the party, and it's great. It's fantastic. And then Bruce goes over to the box, which at this point is actually like a small room that you go into, and then it talks to you in a creepy, like, HAL 9000 voice. And he goes over to the powers and he's like, hey, I want to go look at it, but I don't want it on. And she's like, oh, you take out this little fucking glow stick, which I'm pretty sure it's just a glow stick. And he's like, cool. And he sticks in his pocket and goes into the thing. But he's an idiot because Drew Barrymore pulls out of her little stuffed poodle another glow stick and shoves it in the hole and turns it on. And then he's all like Zot brainwashed. He's like, oh, fucking green dot. What do? Tell me your secrets. And so he, I don't know, with his brain, he does. He doesn't say anything. There's no dialogue, but. And while he's locked in the thing, being mesmerized by the fucking light show, I guess, like getting all googly eyed at the goddamn glow stick. I can only assume it's a lava lamp. But he's getting all googly eyed at a lava lamp. Two-Face busts in. He's like, I'm gonna rob this shit, bro. And Nigma goes up to him, and nobody notices this, by the way. There's reporters fucking everywhere. Nobody sees it. But he goes up to him. He's like, hey, what are you doing? You're crashing my party. And Two-Face is like, you're slow. I want Batman. Murder and mayhem brings the bat out. I'm doing this. And he's like, this is a really bad idea, guys. And he's like, fuck you. I don't care. I'm Two-Face. Like, you're lucky I didn't kill you at all, ever, yet. And so they're doing it and going through it, and then Batman busts in. He's like, because he comes out and he sees what's going on. He busts in. He's like, shit, don't fuck with me. And he ends up Bruce Lee-ing his way around and punching people in the face. Then he goes up to Chase and he's like, hey, you're hot. Apparently Batman is Ted. Hey, you're hot. And she's like, oh my god, I want you so bad. Come to my house at midnight. If you survive. Like, she never says that, but I'm like, dude, that's a big jump, just assuming that he's gonna like make it out and not be wounded or something. Like, selfish? Really? He's like, okay, whatever, and he kisses her, and then they go off, and Batman is now lured outside by Two-Face, and Two-Face is like fucking ridiculously pierced henchmen. It looks like they took giant safety pins and like glued them onto people's faces. It's really funny. Anyway, so he's lured outside, and he does this really cool, shitty 90s CG jump down the side of the building into a manhole because he sees Two-Face go into it, which they catch him in a giant tube, and then they drop him, and they drop a bunch of fucking gravel on him, and they're like, whatever. And then you just, have a long, loving shot of what could now be Batman's tomb, except, it's not. So then his hand busts down and grabs him, pulls him up. Oh, it's Dick Grayson. Robin saved the day. He straps himself back into the Batman suit, goes to Chase's, and Chase is like, she was asleep. She was naked and asleep, even though she knew Batman was going to show up. The fuck? So he shows up, and she's like, oh, wait. I want you, but not bad. Like, I'd rather have Bruce Wayne. And Batman's like, oh, cool, because Bruce Wayne wants you too. Oh, except he didn't say that. There's just like a goofy smile. And he leaves, and she's like, so it's Halloween now. And Batman and Bruce has decided he's not going to be Batman anymore. He's going to give it up. He's going to lock everything up, and he's going to tell Chase. And so she comes over, and it's great, but it's all ruined. He has a giant flashback to his parents being murdered, and she's like, getting all psychologist on his ass, like, hey, tell me, like, don't repress it, let me talk to you. And then he kisses her, and because her and Batman had previously kissed, she's all like, oh shit, you got peanut butter in my chocolate. And then she just realizes that, it's Batman. But by this point, Two-Face and the Riddler have busted the fuck. They've gotten into the house. They knocked out Alfred because they're bastards. Like, what's Alfred gonna do? He's just the coolest old guy, and you just knocked him out because you're a douche. You douche. You bastards. Like, I know you're bad guys, but that's just too much. Two-Face is like, I'm gonna shoot everything up, and Riddler's like, no, you're not. Don't kill anybody, because if you kill him, you won't learn nothing. And so he's like, fine, I won't kill anybody, whatever. But he's sitting there just flipping his coin over and over again, which I think is very against Two-Face's character, because he's really reliant on that coin. When that coin gives him an answer, he shouldn't. It doesn't seem right for him to flip it again until he gets the answer he wants, because his whole thing was the chaos of random chance. But whatever. So he's sitting there flipping it, trying to get the answer he wants. Riddler fucks off into the Batcave and just starts blowing shit up and messing with his nuts. It's really weird. Like, it's a very awkward scene, especially because he's wearing that jumpsuit, and you can kind of see Jim Carrey shit going on down there. I'm like, there's a little more of Jim Carrey than I want to see. But
It's risky introducing a tamed animal into the wild.
But anyways, he blows everything up except for like 3 prototypes. There's a prototype boat, a prototype Batwing, and a prototype Sonic suit. Like, it's got the Batman subsonic, it does bat shit. And so they end up knocking out Bruce Wayne and kidnapping Chase. And I don't know where Grayson is during this scene. Like, where the fuck is Dick? I need Dick. So eventually Batman wakes up and he sees this riddle that they left for him. It's like the 3rd or 4th riddle they've gotten. All the riddles involve numbers. They end up discovering, okay, through some crazy word math, they find out that it was Nigma. It's Edward Nigma, and they are holding him on some island. Some island being a giant island on the coast of Gotham, with a giant green box on it. It has this lights flowing from all over the city into it, which is him sucking the information out of people's brains as they watch their TV. How nobody ever noticed this, I don't know. It makes no sense. It's a giant green hourglass on an island, and nobody saw that. I don't know why. But anyway, so they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this. And Grayson comes up and he's like, hey, I'm still in this movie, even though you hadn't seen me in that last scene. And Val Kilmer's like, cool, whatever. Like, let's do this. So they team up, and there's a huge touching scene about Batman and Robin becoming team, blah, blah, blah. So they end up taking, Batman takes the Batwing, and Robin takes the Batboat, and they get in the thingy, and they head off for the island, where Two-Face and Riddler are playing this weird game of Battleship, because somehow they've got mines fucking everywhere. Like how did they do? How is this an island that exists that nobody noticed? It's surrounded by sea mines and like anti-aircraft shit, and it is a giant green hourglass, and it's made of metal, so it's a man-made island.
And my favorite fighter, I might add.
But anyways, Riddler ends up blowing up Robin. Batman takes the Batwing, ejects the wings, and then crashes into the water. They all save each other. They end up on the island. Whatever. And Robin delivers like the stupidest fucking line, like, and it harkens back to obviously the Adam West Batman, where they're standing there and Batman's like, oh, I don't know what to do, and Robin just shouts,
Holy rusted metal, Batman!
Everybody was like, no, stop it. Don't do that. But then the island starts separating, and Robin's up on the top, and Batman's down on the bottom, and Robin's got Two-Face, and he straight decks Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones falls off the side of the island, except he's holding on, and Robin's like, I'm not going to kill you, because Bruce Wayne is such a great influence on me. I'm not going to kill you. I'd rather see you rot in jail. So he grabs him and lifts him up, and Two-Face is like, you're an idiot. Like, you're noble, but you're an idiot. And he's got a gun to his head, and he's like, I'm fucking your fodder now. Like, you're gonna come be my bait. And that's the scene is over. So then Batman has to climb up this giant thing. He comes up. There's spike traps and then some weird boot rockets. And he comes up and he pops through a hole and lands it perfectly because he's just that cool. And Riddler is sitting there in this fantastic silver and black jumpsuit, and he's like, ooh, I'm fucking welcome to my game show. He's got Chase on one side and in giant fucking test tubes. He's got Chase on one side and Robin on the other, holes on the bottom. He's like, ooh, watery grave, like save them. Which one are you going to save? Are you going to save Chase and choose to be Bruce Wayne? You're going to save Robin and choose to be Batman? And Batman says, both. So he shoots out the lights with the fucking Batarang. The things drop. And he's like, I'm going to save both. And I'm going to do this. He dives into a hole and he Batarangs, he uses the little bat rope and saves Chase, hangs her from a thing, which is stupid because at those speeds, and he grabbed her with that rope, and that sudden stop, dead. Like Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, they pulled that shit, she died. That's death. Your neck snapped, you're dead, you killed your girlfriend. Fuck you, Bruce. But anyways, it's rubber rope or some shit. So she falls, she survives. He ends up saving Robin. Two-Face is down there. He's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm not doing this whole game show shit. Everything that Nigma's been doing, it's pissing me off. So I'm gonna just shoot you now. And Batman's like, wait, your coin. And he's like, oh yeah, that's a thing that supposedly is part of my character, even though up till now we haven't really been dealing with it. So I'm gonna flip this coin, and then you'll live or die. And then Batman's like, I'm a dick, and throws a bunch of identical coins up in the air. Harvey loses his balance, falls down, and dies. Everybody lives. It's great. Then they go back up, and Nigma is sitting there all distorted and gross, and he's all, yeah. He's like, why can't I kill you? And Batman and Bruce Wayne says, I had to save them both because I am not just Batman and I am not just Bruce Wayne, not because I have to be, but because I choose to be. And then Nigma proceeds to start screaming because he sees bats. He just sees big bat silhouette, which is weird because Batman's suit really doesn't look anything like a bat. But anyways. So then it ends with Chase being called to the asylum where Nigma's shouting he knows who Batman is. And then she's like, who the fuck is Batman? He's like, I'm Batman. She's like, whatever, you're nuts. And they split ways, which makes no sense because now she knows he's Batman but is still willing to be with him. And it's all very romantic and touching, but she just leaves. She leaves and then never comes back. And I don't know why. But that's Batman Forever. That's my favorite fucking movie. I love that movie. And for a long time, I used to think, like, oh, it's just a bad movie. It's just a bad movie that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. And then I was thinking about it, like, no, it's not. But I don't think Batman Forever was that bad. Because I thought it was a very delightful mix of the dark, brooding Batman everybody come to know through Batman and Batman Returns. And the Michael Keaton Batmans. But it also still had a lot of the fun Adam West aspects, where it was a lot of silliness and a lot of bad one-liners. And, I thought it was a really good mix of those two things. And also, like I said, visually, I love the way Gotham looked because it was dark and grimy, and you could tell it was kind of a crime-infested cesspit, but it still had this kind of sense of charm and beauty, something that you could see that needed to be rescued in it, that there was still good there, it just needed to be saved. And it's a cheesy movie. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, when it comes to anything, and technically there's a couple shots in there that are fucking weird, but it's a very straightforward movie, and it has a lot of fun elements from both the dark, brooding, go cut yourself emo kid Batman that we know and have now, and the fun, quirky Adam West Batman. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think it has a very full story. There's a few problems here and there, like why the fuck does Chase just leave at the end? I don't know. And it's got silly stuff like the boiling hot acid and all that. But it's really good. It's setting up the story and the characters and then building these relationships and then bringing it to a very satisfying end. Like with Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones just went so over the top and had so much fun with the Riddler and Two-Face. And that's part of the reason I love the Riddler. I mean, I always did, even watching the Adam West Batmans. I like the Riddler. There's a lot of people who love the Joker. He's cool, but I love the Riddler. I think it's cool to have someone, to see essentially someone is just as crazy as Batman and just as intelligent as Batman, but who decided to be a bad guy instead of a good guy. And seeing those two match wits, I just love that. Maybe Jim Carrey maybe didn't pull off the intelligence part as much once he got into the actual Riddler costume. When he first starts as Nigma, you can tell he's kind of a geek and he's intelligent. Once he starts being the actual Riddler, he doesn't do the intelligent thing so much anymore. But he's still so much fun and still thinks he's one step ahead of Batman. And for a long time he is. Batman's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I think that's great. And Two-Face, he's cool. I mean, he's kind of just a brute force, chaotic aspect, but he's a lot of fun. So and even Val Kilmer, even when he's brooding shit, everyone had such a blast on that set, and it just really comes through in the movie. And yes, I like intelligent movies that make you think. I like darker storylines and more intense things like that. But I also like things that are just fun. I don't go to theme parks and just ride the rides with stories. I don't go to Disney World and just ride Pirates of the Caribbean. I also ride the roller coasters. Pirates of the Caribbean might have a fun, full story that you go through. The roller coaster is just fun. And it's kind of the same thing for movies. It's probably a weird analogy, but this has been the trial run for Sword Song Spoils It. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this even sees the light of day. I'm gonna put some stuff together. I'm gonna bring it out. I'm gonna tell the world of my love of Batman Forever, and I'm gonna get just so much guff for it. But I hope you enjoyed it, because I do intend on doing more things like this. More, but I'm a movie geek deep down. I got celluloid in my veins. I love it. And so yeah, I really want to start doing that. So this has been Sword Song Spoils It. I'm Sword Song. You're you. I'll talk to you later. Remember to do all that fun YouTube stuff like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye!